Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Vulnerability Time. I am your host, Josias April. With us, we have a new special guest, Chelsea. Chelsea, great to have you on here. How does it feel to be on a podcast?
Feels great with my friend who I love very much. I'm happy to be here.
Woo! Chelsea, so tell us a little bit about you. For those of us who don't know you, tell us a little bit about you. What do you do for work, if you want to share that, or what did you do for the summer, or how we met? It could just be just before we jump into our topics today. It's a little
Okay.
Chelsea.
Yeah. So you and I met in college. I was studying chemical engineering and I graduated with that degree in 2021. And after college, I moved to New York from Texas, where you and I met. And now I work in the tech industry in New York. And I've been doing that for about 2.5 years. And I really love it. I love New York. I love living here. I live here with my girlfriend of over 2 years now. And so, yeah, just enjoying life. And I'm ready for fall.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Before I forget. Okay, so folks, our topic, speaking of girlfriend, our today is going to be Chelsea's coming out story, accepting herself, and, just bringing our authentic self every day. But before we get into that, so what part of New York? Are you like in like Big Apple downtown New York?
No, I'm in like
Or
upstate New York. So I live in like these mountains. It's really beautiful where I live. It's like mountains. I go hiking all the time. And I'm only like an hour and a half away from the city. So like anytime I want to go down to the city, I just take the train down. Super cheap. So I can go down to the city whenever I want, but I can also go hiking whenever I want. So it's really beautiful where I live. I really am thankful that I live here.
best of both worlds. New York has mountains?
Yeah, I live in a
What?
valley, so it's like mountains all around me. It's so beautiful.
Shut all of the front doors. What? New
Yeah,
York has mountains. Well, looks like you're living your best life because you got kind of get the best of both worlds. You got your mountain and then you got your city, and it's just like when city's too much, you can just take a break and go back to the
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So you already mentioned something about girlfriend. So I think it's only appropriate that we start out with, a little bit of your coming out story as much as you want us to share. So what's the beginning of that? Like, what do you want us to know about your coming out story? Like anything that'll inspire us or just anything. Like, what does that look like for Chelsea?
Yeah, so me and my girlfriend were friends for about 2 or 3 years before we actually started dating, which was nice. I hooked two of my friends up, and one of my friend's best friend was my girlfriend. And
Mhm.
so we just hung out all the time. We got to know each other for about 3 years, and we got to know everybody's little quirks, about each other as friends. We got to hang out all the time. And then in a college, my senior year, feelings started to change a little. And I kind of realized, like, I might be bisexual. And she had already know she was very confident in her sexuality for many years before that. And so she kind of
Mhm.
gave me little hints that, she had a crush on me or whatever. And
Yeah.
so once I started, hanging out with her more and just kind of bonding and in different situations, we kind of formed that connection. And so, yeah, we started dating my senior year in college and we've been dating ever since. So, yeah, about 2.5 years now. And yeah, it's been great. As far as coming out goes, I kind of hate the idea of having to come out. Like, it's like,
Exactly.
I hate that we as
Same.
gay people have to do that. I wish we
Exactly.
could just say, I'm dating a girl and that's not a big deal.
Right.
So I never really had like a big coming out. It was just friends, me saying to friends and family, being like, yeah, I have a girlfriend. When they'd ask if
Yeah.
I have a boyfriend, I'd be like, no, I have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And, we're together. And so, and I've really not had like major issues with that. No one's come up to me and be like, whoa, like, you didn't tell me anything about this. Like, so
Mhm.
it's been really good. Like, my friends have been really supportive. My family has been extremely supportive. So, yeah, so it's been great. And, I think we have a long future together. And I hope, one day we get married and have little babies running around. So, yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, that sounds beautiful. That sounds beautiful. Like, already having that like friendship foundation, because it's like honestly like that is like one of the most important things in like a relationship. I know like our generation doesn't really like do that. We kind of like things to go like quickly. But it's just like, feelings come and go. It's that friendship foundation that has to be had,
Mhm.
because we're humans. Our feelings are volatile. Our feelings can change based off circumstances, but it's like that friendship foundation is extremely important to get people through a romantic relationship. I feel like, and because you wanna know the person. You don't want to,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, you don't want to just like the idea of the person or the idea of a relationship. You want to actually like the person. Like, wow, do I actually like this person, or do I just like the idea, or do I like both? But it's like as long as you have that liking of the actual person, that
Mhm.
is phenomenal. And y'all have known each other for like a long time, for a while before y'all even
Yeah.
started
Yeah, like,
having
I fully
feelings.
knew her personality, like, I knew how funny she was, I knew I liked hanging out with her for, like, long periods of time, so I think
Yeah.
all those things really help build, like, a really strong relationship because when we
Hmm.
started dating, I knew I was moving to New York, like, I had already had those plans, so I kinda told her when we started dating, "We're gonna start dating, but I'm moving in, whatever it was, 6 months or whatever. So, like, are we gonna last? Is this, like, a long-term thing?"
Hmm.
And I think we both just talked it out, and we both were like, "Yeah, we think this is long term, like, we'll do
Yeah.
long distance," and so we did long distance for almost a year, and that was pretty rough, I'm not
Of
gonna lie.
course.
Yeah, it was rough for sure, but we visit each other, like, at least once a month or around once a month, so our bank
Mhm.
accounts were not very happy, but we made it work and we made it last, and we always said, if we can make it through long distance, we could probably make it through anything, and I think that's been so true, like, we've
Very true.
make it through anything now that we've made it through long distance because that was really, really hard. So I think that helped us like build really great communication and just being able to talk about issues we have. I think that's
Yeah.
helped that whole area of our relationship a lot. So yeah.
Exactly, exactly. That's also two things. Because, I mean, that is important. See, because of that friendship foundation, I truly feel like that definitely helped, during that long distance relationship thing. And by the way, just to clarify for folks, when I was mentioning those things about, the friendship foundation, it took me a while to learn those things, folks. I don't want to make it seem like I'm attacking our generation, you know, um, but it is something, that it's not really like that. I don't know, no one in our generation to, be friends with a person. And I've been that individual too, so literally no shade, it's just an observation.
Hmm.
That, But yes, okay. Uh, Something that I like that you said about the whole like just coming out in general, like I wish that wasn't a thing because honestly, that never really was a thing because one, 98% of humanity is sexually fluid. Fun fact, I'm not gonna folks who have listened to season two and season three and season one, I think, of the podcast know like the whole history behind sexual orientation. That is a modern age concept that never existed back then. Never. People are like, oh, but the Bible says this, and I was like, oh, look where the Bible was originally, and then look how there have been some changes made, and then look who made those changes, and then revisit the question of, oh, yeah, that probably wasn't how it was back then. And I was like, exactly. Just
Yeah.
like it wasn't. Yeah, so fun fact, in fact, the implication of the whole same sex thing was to, I'm not going to go too into it, folks. If you want to do your research, do your research. But it was a separation mechanism and a control mechanism because, kind of like divide and conquer, controlled. If someone's trying to question your own actions, it's best to, fake a rule. Um, it's best to fake a rule. Um, yeah. King, y'all, if y'all know who King James was, y'all would see one why he decided to change some things because the man liked the little boys, and it's just like okay, so we'll just put oh man shall not sleep with man in the Bible. I was like that's not where it meant. That the original word said man shall not sleep with little boys because it was normal back then for rich folks to sleep with children. And how effed up, right? Girls weren't even considered in that, even though
Yeah.
obviously, you know. And
Yeah.
it was also a religious practice for different religions, for older rich people to sleep with children. But King James likes sleeping with little boys and little girls, so he's like, oh, let's change that. And then the word homosexuality wasn't even a word back then. That word is an 18th century word, late 18th century, and it didn't even mean same sex. It meant sex education of just humans, because us as humans, we're Homo sapiens.
Hmm.
So that's what homosexuality meant. But it wasn't until 1932 or 1936 that it got put into the Bible, um, and it was part of a. It was part of the whole. It's German word. It was part of the whole, Nazis agenda. So they got that far to, manipulate religious texts towards gay people. And if they were to fully, go through with their plan, I feel like some years after that, they would have found a way to manipulate, Jewish people within religious texts. It's just really interesting, to know where that comes from, because I'm just like, this is not necessarily something people can choose. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if you're right, like if you're attracted to both, okay, I guess you can choose who you end up in a relationship with, but you cannot choose who you're attracted to.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's just like, it's not fair that people have to suppress that and then miss out on the greatest love of their life.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
And it's like, no shame. It's just a societal teaching that never existed like 5 centuries ago. The whole,
Hmm.
oh, you can't love this person because of, they're of the same gender or the same sex. That never existed. That is a modern age concept. So, fun fact. So that's the thing. It's just like when I wasn't even going to talk about that, because folks know how passionate I get about that. But it was just something interesting that you said, though, when you were like, we wish that, the whole coming out thing wasn't even a thing. And that's just what's so beautiful about it, was it never used to be a thing. And
Yeah.
never, that is so new, and we're just so conditioned with that, that's our normal. But like, if we go, like, if like people from like 10 centuries ago came and like looked at us, they would think that we're weird for having coming out things, because that wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I
yeah.
hope in the future, it's not a thing at all. I hope.
Right, exactly. Because that's just what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. I was just like, yeah, like big whoop, like shoot. So I'm just like, as long as I get an invite to the wedding, yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. So that's what that is. Fun fact. So I like that you mentioned about that. Okay, so the whole aspect. I'm sorry. Did you have anything to say? Any
No.
comments before we
No.
move on? Okay. Have you ever heard anything about that? Like,
No, I haven't. You educated me. Yeah.
oh, yeah, and it's something that like a lot of people obviously understandably would get like uncomfortable with, because it's not what we're taught. And especially the fact that faith is something that people hold very dear to themselves. So it's definitely understandable that once something so dear and so vulnerable is met with some challenge, that it would make people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But this is to all the people who are suppressing it because they think that it's wrong. Just like, I promise you, it's not. You're worth the love. And then it's also really hard, because it's like people are scared to, and I used to be scared too, because it's a lot of times it's not just, oh, we're scared of ourselves. It's more so we're scared about what people are going to think.
Yeah.
And I know
Definitely.
people, yeah, and I know people say, oh, just don't care what people think. That is hard, okay? Because there's different contexts of what people think. Like, you don't want the wrong person thinking the like wrong thing. Like, you don't want your parents thinking a certain thing, because their thoughts could turn into actions. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Or your
Yeah.
boss or, yeah.
Yeah. So, if you would like to speak a little bit on that, of the whole, notion of like I wish in a better world that we just shouldn't care what people think, but there are some circumstances in life where it's actually a protection mechanism for us to care what people think because it's a way of you know protecting ourselves because
Mhm.
secrets save ourselves before they start to make ourselves suffer.
Yeah. Yeah, so I will say when I moved to New York, that was a thing that I was kind of thinking about because being from Texas, I think we protect ourselves a lot because so many people are homophobic and they could just, really do some bad things to you or, not provide a certain service that you're looking for. Just like in any way, it could really affect your life negatively. So I think when I moved to New York, I was really nervous about that, especially joining a new company and joining a new team. I kind of hid that for a while that I had a girlfriend and, that she was part of my life. So I hid that for a while. And then with my like immediate team members, it got to a point where we were so close and it was so hard to eliminate her from my life that I was just like, I have to just, be who I am.
Right.
And so once I did that, like it just felt so much better to be who I am and be able to talk about what I'm doing on the weekends and about, her
Mm-hmm.
coming to visit me and me going to visit her. So it just felt so much better. And so I'm like a big advocate now of just being out, like no matter where you are. Cause when I moved up here, like with my friends, yeah, I was like immediately, I was like, I have a girlfriend. It was easy. But I
Yeah.
just didn't want my work life to affect me negatively if people found out, like, were they not going to promote me or were they not
Right.
going to want to work with me because they had these predispositions in their head. So I really grew from that experience and I got a really good group at work of like other female engineers. And we talked about being your authentic self at work. And we have a trans
Mm-hmm.
woman in that group and she's really helped me. Like I've befriended her and she's really helped me a lot. And so now I'm just like, I moved into a new job. And so now I'm just like out, like fully out. I'll tell anyone and I'll just like want to be my authentic self because that's how I'm comfortable at work is being who I am and
Yes.
talking about who I love and having pictures of me and her on my desk at work. So,
Mm.
yeah, everyone should be who they are no matter where you are. And just make sure
Yeah.
it's safe. One, definitely make sure it's safe. But
Yeah.
after that, like, just be who you are. And I promise people will love you. So,
Yes, yes, I love that. Yes, like I love that you said that towards the end. A secret is worth being shared in the safe. It has to be in a safe space, though.
mhm.
And it's like once we hold that too long when it's in a safe space, it can make us suffer sometimes.
Yeah.
But there is a space and an environment where it's just like it's probably best for us in that moment. If it's like extremely evident that, if it's extremely evident that if you are a certain way, you will be harmed, then yeah, definitely keep that secret.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but like how you mentioned, you got to fill out your environment, and it took time to be able to get to that point to say it. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
you didn't want to say it in an extremely unsafe space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it took time. Of course, there was fear. Um, but you learned that it was an okay enough space to say it, and I think that's also important. Learning that space. Learning this space because not everything's gonna happen just like that.
Exactly. And I didn't know, yeah, like I knew people in New York were more liberal or more left leaning, but I
Mhm.
still didn't know like their direct people I was working with what they thought, about gay people or anything. So I definitely wanted to learn about my environment and see how it differed from Texas first. And then
Mhm.
once I found out it's way different and they're way more accepting, then I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna, you
Yeah.
know, be myself and everyone, still, wants to hang out with me and likes me and wants to work with me. So it's been rewarding and it's been great. And I'm just so happy to be here and be with people that are super accepting and love me and my girlfriend. So
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. And then the whole being the authentic self. Um, that's hard sometimes, ain't it? I
yeah,
mean,
definitely.
obviously, I know that's not like that's that, that answer. I mean, that statement, it doesn't just come immediately, because like we were saying, it can be like certain environments. can make that like
Mhm.
extremely like, you know, yuck for
Yeah.
us. I'm sorry, I completely lost my train of thought. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I was stalling right then and there.
It's
But
all good.
yes, I do it a lot. I don't always know how to stall the best. Um, but we love that. But what we can do is, I feel like the whole here, what was it? Yes, accepting yourself. Um, what does that look like for you, Chelsea? The whole accepting yourself thing, because it is a journey, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. I think it's a really long journey. I don't think I'm through the journey at all, especially at work or just in life. I'm a female engineer, which is rare already, just being a woman in engineering and in STEM. And I'm Hispanic as well, which is also super rare. And then the fact that I'm gay on top of all that is like
Mm-hmm.
the trifecta of being like the outcast in every situation. But yeah, I think it's been a long journey just trying to learn about myself, like learn about the cultures I belong to
Mm-hmm.
and try to support people in those cultures, especially that are below me and I like are trying to get where I am. And so yeah, I've been like such a history nerd. So I've been trying to like dive deep into history and the history of queer people and the queer movement and Hispanic history and learning about different Hispanic cultures, not just my Mexican culture.
Yeah.
And just like trying to make a world that I like living in, because for a long time, especially growing up, being half Hispanic and half white, I never felt like I belonged in either culture. The white people were like, "You're too Mexican to be white," and then the Mexican people were like, "You're too white to be Mexican." So I always
Mm.
felt like I was nowhere anywhere in those cultures. So I'm just
Mm.
trying to form, what do I want to see in my world? What do I want to be a part of? Do I want to be super into the Mexican culture or do I want to just be, part of the white culture? Like, do I want to be super into queer culture and support other queer people in my community, or do I want to just kind of lay low? And I've definitely leaned more into like, supporting queer people around me, supporting Hispanics in STEM, especially like trying to get underprivileged people into STEM and girls into STEM in general. So I've just been trying to like volunteer in my community, doing STEM outreach, especially doing female outreach and yeah, I'm trying to like I'm forming my queer community right now in my small community in New York, which has been so empowering and so nice. And yeah, just reading books, learning about history, making sure that the world is a better place, as I live my life. So I think I've been learning a lot and I'm still learning, but I really am liking the world I live in now. So yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh, you just said everything that I was just gonna, all the principles that I was gonna say. Okay, one, exactly. This is Chelsea's world.
Yeah.
If you don't want to live in it, take a spaceship and leave.
So true.
Um, yes, and something that's so beautiful that you said. Part of accepting ourselves is also learning ourselves and growing ourselves. It is a continuous process. Because it's like the stuff that I thought about now was not the stuff that I thought about like 10 years from now. I mean,
Agreed.
10 years previous, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's okay. And it takes time and it's okay to learn ourselves, to grow with ourselves, to learn what we like and don't like. How do I want my world to look like the best that I can for my world? That's
Hmm.
what's so beautiful that you had mentioned. Oh my gosh, Chelsea, it's gonna be hard to find an advertisement soundbite for your episode. You said so many great things. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. Um, mm, you, I just would say this: like the Chelsea that I knew then, I think she would be so proud of the Chelsea that I see now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Seriously, it's just what I'm getting from this. It looks like confidence. It looks like respect. You know, and
Yeah.
it looks like inspiration. That's what you're
Thank
giving
you.
off. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is your world. This is your life. This is Chelsea's life.
Yeah.
This is, yeah. So I love that. I'm loving that. And like you said, like you're having that building of community. and things of that nature. Thank you, Chelsea.
Thank
I'm a
you.
little
Yeah. I
speechless.
like that you
Yeah.
mentioned respect because that's a huge thing I think you have to learn when you are like accepting yourself and accepting who you are and your cultures and everything. Respect is a huge thing because I think I didn't respect myself a lot, like growing up, especially like body image, where I've
Oh,
been. Like I did not respect who I was, my body, my brain, any of that stuff. So I think as I've gotten older, I'm like, yeah, I respect the hard work I put in. I respect what this body does for me on a daily basis. Like I respect my body enough to eat well, like to eat well and to exercise. I respect my brain enough to fight for what I want at work and like fight for promotions and fight for projects and like yeah, I think respect is a huge thing. I think I'm still learning that as well, but once you respect yourself, like it's so much easier to respect other people because it's like you're
yes.
treating yourself well, you can treat other people just as
Yes.
well as you're treating yourself.
It's a
So
projection.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and I think
Mm.
being in a relationship has helped that a lot, like, she's helped build my confidence, and I think I've helped build her confidence, and we just grow from each other every day, so I think growing in different ways, being full-rounded people, in all the different aspects, I think has helped a lot, so, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes, that is the best. Like when your partner, y'all just can learn and grow from and with each other.
Mhm.
That is beautiful. That's what I love. I remember, oh my gosh, two things. Well, one more thing before we close out, unless you have anything else you would like to say, and I'll ask you towards the end. But I remember when you had posted on your Instagram story and on your Instagram, you and your girlfriend, y'all were at some event.
Yeah,
I was so freaking happy. Remember, I had even posted it on my story, and I was like,
yeah,
this is just so beautiful. Like, seriously. And then I went on your Instagram, obviously I liked the photo, and,
mhm.
and just all the likes that you've gotten, it just made me so happy to see that support
Me
for
too,
you,
yeah, me
you
too.
know? Because I was going on there to, I don't know. I was just if anyone was not supportive, I was just gonna have a conversation with them. No,
Thank
seriously,
you, thank you.
no, no. Like I don't mean that in like a bad conversation. No, I genuinely was just gonna like DM them, and just have a conversation,
Yeah,
and just be like, this is Chelsea's Instagram page, love and support her. You know
yeah,
what I mean? You're not coming on her Instagram page to agree or disagree.
yeah,
Like this is
yeah,
Chelsea's world. I was gonna say it in the most kindest way.
mhm.
But I was on there to advocate. There we go.
Yeah,
I was on
there
there
you
to
go, thank you.
advocate. But I saw so much support, and I just loved it. Oh my gosh.
I know, it was great. It was really nice feeling all the support and
Yes.
seeing all the support, yeah.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, I was so happy. Duh. Obviously, because I'm biased, but I just, duh, I'm biased. So it's because I was like, I know you, and I'm
Yeah,
just so proud of you,
thank you, yeah.
Um, yeah. So before we close out, do you have anything else you want to add? Because I'm going to ask you one more question, but is there anything else that we didn't touch on that you would like to touch on?
Yeah, I'll just say, speaking of Instagram and me posting about us on Instagram, I will say relationships aren't always what Instagram looks like. Like, relationships are really hard, and long-term relationships are really hard because there's a lot of milestones you have to get through, and issues come up all the time that you did not expect in a million years would come up, or issues that have been reoccurring and they finally just hit ahead. So I will say, don't always believe what you see on social media. Like, it's so hard to be in a relationship and be with someone and love them every day. Like, I am head over heels for my girlfriend, but we have to work through a lot of stuff a lot of times. So
Yes.
just
Yes.
like work on yourself before you jump into anything, because if you're not like a full-fledged human being that can work through stuff, then you will not last in a relationship, and you might really hurt that person and yourself. So just really work on you, because our relationship happened because we weren't looking for anything, and I think we were both full-fledged human beings that were, not trying to hurt anyone, not trying to get revenge on anyone. We were just trying to genuinely be ourselves. And I think that's helped a lot us have good communication and work through issues that come up. And we're able to respect one another and communicate and not talk down to each other and just be understanding and not defensive at all. And so I will say, work on yourself. Don't believe what you see on social media, and you will find someone that you could last a long time with. So, yeah.
I feel like you've been hearing my conversations just in general. Um, exactly.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Exactly. And that's something that honestly, I'm not gonna go like too much into that because I don't want to make this episode about me because this is your world. I'm just living in it. Is me and my man, my cowboy. That whole working on yourself aspect. I've always been working on myself for the longest time, you
Mhm.
know, um, but it wasn't until I got into a relationship um, is when I see how beneficial it is to, be working on yourself and have the other person also working on themselves as well, you
Mhm.
know. And that played a part in like the type of communication that we did have. And communication is key.
Yeah.
It is so much key. So it's just
Mhm.
like, yeah, because it's like we experience stuff that we never thought that I never thought I would experience. I mean I just didn't think to experience that in a relationship, you know
Yeah.
um and it's just like communication, and we both project um the work that we do. We both project the great aspects. We both project, the areas of growth. We're able to be that vulnerable to, show each other our areas of growth.
Mhm.
But to know that, we also work on it and that it is, a process and a progress, not just stagnant and
Exactly.
toxic, you know?
Yeah.
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 Okay, so I'm gonna do that as a soundbite. What you had just said, I'm gonna do that as the advertisement soundbite. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick like three sound bites and I'm gonna DM you and you pick which one. Because I'm very indecisive.
Okay. That works.
Yeah, you said way too many great things and I was like, okay, well now I don't know now I don't know how to like soundbite this. So we love it. That's a good thing though.
Whatever works. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, and lastly, Chels, what would you say to the younger you or anyone else who is in the position of the younger you? What advice would you give them?
Yeah. I would say you're not lucky. You're smart and you're blessed. Like, you're not lucky at all. You work really hard for everything that you get. I used to think for a long time I was just lucky. That's why I got good grades. And no, I was really smart and I worked really hard. So I would say you're not lucky, you work hard and you deserve everything you get. I would say definitely accept yourself no matter what situation you're in. Work on accepting yourself. It's going to be a journey, but the earlier you do it, the better life you'll have. So just work on accepting yourself and love the people around you. Be kind to people. Yeah, and just do you keep working hard, and you will go so much further than you ever thought you would. There is no ceiling to what you could do. So yeah.
I think that's gonna be the soundbite advertisement. I'm not sure. This shit is too good. What? Chelsea, I'm so proud of you. Seriously, I'm so freaking proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you, friend.
Thank you. Folks, because I actually needed to hear that first part because like I mean I'm still in school right now. I'm about to graduate with my master's degree and then I hop right into my doctorate degree in January
Mhm.
of 2024. And something that I always thought was just like, oh, you're just lucky, and smart, but you're more lucky. And then it's just like, no, like I put in the work to do
Yeah,
this. There's no way my grades are this consistent just based off luck. That's just
exactly. Yeah.
right. Because if it was, that luck would have ran out. But it's just like, no, because Josias, that is consistent. It's consistent. And
Mhm.
that's you. You're putting in that, that effort. So I needed to hear that. first
Yeah,
part that you said.
I think a lot of people do, and I'm glad it resonated.
Yes, thank you, Chelsea. Okay. Well, with that, folks, with that being said, this has been another episode of Vulnerability Time um, with special guest Chelsea. We love it. Um, Last thing, folks, if no one has told you today that you are lovable, please allow yourself to be the first and allow me to be the second. Folks, you were never meant to be perfect on this earth. You're just meant to try your best. So have grace on yourself, folks. It's okay if you don't have all the answers today. It's okay if you don't have everything figured out today, folks. Know that you are worth the journey, you are worth the process, you are worth the growth and the progress. So be kind to yourself, folks, and be kind to others.
Yes.
You're beautiful, folks. Thank y'all for tuning in, and thank y'all for the support. And remember, send this episode to someone else. You never know whose life you're gonna save. You never know whose day you're gonna make better. Thanks to Chelsea. Alrighty, folks. Have a great day. I'll see y'all for next episode for whatever that would be because I don't fucking know. I don't have the outline just yet. I'm gonna just kind of go through it and just we're just gonna do it. Alrighty, folks. Bye.